guys, this is Rocket to Insanity, and it is going to be very long. I looked it over. It looks like a good story. I haven't read this before. Like Cupcakes, man, I just fell apart at that. Like, I got dizzy at the end of part 3, and I was like on the ground. But alright, here we go. Rocket to Insanity. A story inspired by Sergeant Sprinkle's Cupcakes fanfic. Warning. This work of fiction contains material that may be sensitive to some readers. Murder, gore, and death. Viewer discretion is advised. Alright. There is evil within the hearts of all ponies, such is the balance of nature. Good can only be prevalent for so long before evil musters its forces and seizes upon the heart, twisting friendships into war, loyalty into deceit, kindness into an unaltered hate. By unknown author 622 BL. Alright. Ah! 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 Screams echoed through the cloud Paris of Rainbow Dash's home. The filly started wide awake and a cold sweat, terror surging through her veins. Nightmares again. The 7th time this month. It was already the same one. The one with the cupcakes. Ha! Flashes of memory lands through her head. Wings being hacked off, then ripped from their sockets. Needles being plunged into her beating heart. Adrenaline injected into her body to keep her awake and alert when torture went on. The smell of her own flesh cooking, the sight of her own blood and gore spilling from her surgically incised belly, the masterminds behind her terror toying with those glistening organs like they were party favors. Yeah, right here. She knew her heart that Pinkie Pie would never be capable of doing such a gruesome act. Aww. But, one second. But, I lost my place. I am sorry. Alright, that thought, that's what it says. Oh well, that thought, I'm sorry I wasted your time here, but keep going. But that thought didn't help to make the dreams any less vivid. Alright, there we go. The biggest pony sobbed openly, curling up in her blanket and rocking back and forth as her body trembled with fear. She hasn't told anyone about the dreams, about the lingering and the feeling of steel-piercing flesh and blade-cutting bone. Her work had suffered because of the constant night terrors and the nightmares being so powerful. She was simply afraid of going back to sleep. Some nights, staying up altogether in an attempt to stave off horrors for just one more night, and every pony wondered why she spent most of her day napping in the open, in the daylight, because of the shining brilliance of the sun. It was the only way she could actually rest. But even then, the black clutches of her fear addled subconsciousness had begun to creep down even to that relative safety, following her through the dreaming world. Dash whimpered as tears streaked down her face, staining the fur of her cheeks as wide eyes darted around the scenery of her room, her heart pounding in her chest as she came before hiccuping sobs. Her reins clinging tight against her as her form of paranoia began to clutch at the edges of her mind. Shadows lurked and moved in her peripheral vision. Routine. If I don't think about it, I'm better. So, routine natural noises became distorted and echoing within her mind. As adrenaline surged through her shivering form, this wasn't healthy. Her mind was slowly breaking under the horrors of her subconscious mind. Things that no pony should even ever have the slightest thought about, chipping away at her psyche. She was starting to crack. Bum, bum, bum. That's like it. Let me scroll down. Alright. Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash. Hey, is anybody ponies out seeing Rainbow Dash? Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm sorry. This is Applejack voice. Alright, Rainbow... I'm gonna fail at this. Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash. Hey, has any pony seen Rainbow Dash around? I know I failed. Get over it. Applejack trotted through the streets of Ponyville, looking high and low for the town's resident speedster pony. Bystanders just shook their heads and shrugged. Horse feathers. Figures that pony's nowhere to be seen when you really need her. The cow pony sighed and continued on through town, hoofbeats kicking up dust as she looks at the sky for the biggest pony. Consarn it, Rainbow Dash, where in the wild world of Equestria are ya? Yeah. Along yon from the branches of a tree and of a tree behind her met her answer. The pony in question, dipping a head down and gazing at Applejack from an upside down position. I can't do Rainbow Dash's voice. No, what? Applejack? What is it that's so important that you've got to interrupt my napping? I know I'm not doing it in Rainbow Dash's voice just because I suck at it, but get over it. Alright. Alright. The western pony stamped a hoof on the ground, scowling at the Pegasus. Now you know just why I'm making a fuss and finding you. You said you were going to bring over a little rainstorm for the crops to speed up anchors nearly 2 hours ago. Instead, I find you here, in a tree, snoozing your little behind off. Dash gave a groan, slipping out of the tree and landing on her hooves, shaking her head. She looked more disheveled than usual, her mane a mess, dark bags under her eyes for many a sleepless night. She looked pale, sickly almost, yet still tried to put on an air of cheerfulness. She heaved a yawn before giving a dismissive wave to Applejack. Yeah, keep your saddle on. I'll get to it right now, sorry and stuff. As the Pegasus pony turned to spread her wings to take off, Applejack tilted her head inside and gave a little frown. Dash, you feeling okay? You seem a little, under the weather. Dash grumped, shouldering her shoulders as she gave her wings a little test flap. I'm fine, was the only response from the Pegasus. The cowpony behind her stepped forward. Give me, one second. No, it was the only response from the beast. The cowpony behind her stepped forward, giving Dash the side a little nudge with her snout. You sure about that? She was cut off by the Pegasus suddenly jerking away from Applejack, darting up into the air with her eyes open. Don't touch me. I'm fine. Honest, she nearly spilled beans right then and there, but refrained. She couldn't take the chance that the other pony might think different of her just because she was being scared out of her mind every night by some stupid nightmare. Her body gave a little shiver as Applejack looked down with concern. Gotta go. Before Applejack could say anything further, Dash was off like a rocket towards the Sweet Apple Acres, leaving the cow pony just to scratch her head in confusion. That girl ain't right. Alright, I'm gonna read one more paragraph, and then we're gonna have to do part 2. Here we go. Another terror-filled night. Dash lay curled upon the floor of her cloud house, blankets swathed around her shivering form. It was worse this time. She had been flayed open. Oh my God. She had been flayed open, set up on the dining table of the pink earth pony, as slabs of her own meat, dripping with her life fluids as she was sheared from her flanks, served to all of her friends. Herself, still somehow alive, to be aware of the entire situation, hearing the laughters as they devoured the living form, as a fork and knife dug into her innards, tearing her apart. She was nothing more than the slab of meat of her friends' for her friends' enjoyment. Hiccups punctured through the heavy sobs as the Pegasus pony clutched at her head. The visions that her nightmares had been visiting upon had ingrained her with memory. Aw, darn it. Oh well. Every horrible detail, from the fiery pain of rended flesh The sickening sound of the innards being torn or ripped out of her belly was cast in vivid deception. She whined as she laid curled tightly upon the floor, sniffing as tears gushed from her eyes. Just leave me alone. Why won't you leave me alone? She hiccuped, rocking back and forth. I don't deserve this. Just stay out. Stay out of my head. Get out of my head, please. Just get out of my head. Fear turned to anger, Dash beating her hooves against her temples. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. She wept openly, grinding her forehead against the floor of her room, hoofs pounding and pounding at her head, bruising the flesh as pent-up frustration and sleep deprivation erupted in an agonized scream of rage and sorrow. Another night, another crack in the window. Bum, bum, bum.